Next up, we kind of touched on this earlier, but I'm curious to know your thoughts on thought leadership. So my question is thought leadership still a goal for companies that want to market their services? So yeah, what do you think? Even the phrase leadership feels kind of
Oh,
uncomfortable to say, but
it does.
I can't point to anything we're doing that isn't about building thought leadership.
I know. I absolutely love thought leadership. And oddly, as long as I've been doing this, it has been a difficult and elusive thing to describe to people who don't inherently understand what thought leadership is. I've
Hmm.
been I've been explaining thought leadership for as long as I've been involved in thought leadership. And I think, it's one of those things that I have found it's almost impossible to convince a client that doesn't understand thought leadership already to like do it uh,
Interesting.
under that moniker. But then the clients where their internal teams and their leadership that they understand it, that's when it's really fun because they know they want it, they know they maybe they already have it, they want to do more of it. That's when it's really fun. I think, absolutely, like, thought leadership is a goal for companies that want to market their services. If it's not, it should be.
Yeah.
I
So
hesitate
okay.
to use the word should, but
Yeah. So not going away, but how would you say it's different than, maybe a decade ago when thought leadership was kind of a new idea? But how would you say it's kind of different, even going into 2024? Like, what does thought leadership for your types of customers look like? People who are clients
Mhm.
of Fuoco, what are they? What's their appetite right now for new ideas and new insights? What are they thinking about? And what are you recommending to them for next year?
Um, so like when I think about thought leadership, I think, it's really about really giving a lot of consideration and deep consideration to how people buy. How do your customers buy? Whether direct to consumer, whether B2B, they Google or Bing or whatever search engine they use, they Google, which is now a verb. They ask friends, they ask family, they ask trusted networks, and they look for value. And so I think thought leadership
Hmm.
drives all of those. I think thought leadership drives brand awareness. I think it drives differentiation. I think it drives, again, that internal cohesion that I mentioned earlier. Like if you're a company and you're like, okay, we're going to put a stake in the ground, thought leadership. Um, let's just say I want you to buy my AI solution for physician practices. Okay, well, let's dig deep and say, well, what is it actually doing? It goes back to that brand storytelling and like, what is the big challenge that it's solving? And how is my AI solution for doctors' practices, different? What's it going to do? What problem is it going to solve? And now let's create a whole educational subject matter expert campaign around that. And it's going to help, your internal teams know how to talk about it. It's going to help you know how to talk about it to the market. And then if you do it well, it's going to define how people shop for that solution,
Hmm.
right? So I think it gives marketing PR teams something to build campaigns around. It drives content. It can feed the marketing machine for multiple months, if not multiple years. you know I think, like, if you're some if you're an organization with really heavy hitter subject matter experts, it's a great way to feature that expertise and set your brand apart. And all of that combined, wait for it, I'm going to your SEO. It really fuels SEO and search rankings, right? And
Yes.
it's driving, traffic to your site, to your app, to whatever. And I think, if your brand is leading the way on helping buyers know what to look for when they're in need for that solution or that product and that you're selling, then you're going to move way up to the top of their list, both search as well as preference, and I think if you're then priced right, good thought leadership can help you overcome pricing issues. If you're the most expensive, but people view you as the true thought leader and the expert, that can help you get that that higher price a lot of times too, I think. And then, and even more bonus if you're somewhere in the middle, you're not the lowest price, the highest price, but like you're a great price point, and then your thought leadership drives home with your buyer that you're also a good value, then, you hit it out of the park with that.
Yeah, you said something I hadn't ever heard before. People are looking for value. And I think a lot of times with, with any kind of content, or especially when people are trying to do marketing stuff and they're not used to talking in a marketing way, they think they need to talk in a sales way. But,
Hmm.
and they're often too close to what they're doing and need an agency to help them take a step back and say, wait a second, at the end of the day, what does this really do for anybody? They're looking for value, either in search engines with a pain point, or in social media, bumping up against something that might be innovative, and they need new ideas and they're looking for new things.
Yeah. Yeah. And a
Yeah.
lot of times you don't know what you don't know. So as the expert, you're selling a solution they need, but you have to help them understand what to look for. How do I differentiate, GoEpps from Fuoco? How do I know the difference?
Mhm.
I run into that all the time. I don't know about you. People looking for a marketing partner. And, if they looked at GoEpps and they looked at Fuoco, there'd be two totally different things, but a lot of buyers
Yeah.
don't know the difference. And so if you can help buyers understand the difference and understand how to know how to buy, that is thought leadership.
Huh. Yeah. I think, yeah. And I think, just my 2 cents, but I think the way it's kind of changed some is more of, you have to be like at the party. You have to be in the community. So not just putting out content, but I would say community is a component of it.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
being at the events, I don't know. I see you and other folks who I follow are sort of, they're just out there. They're just present. And so when those people are always present, like I go to this event, or I see, who's going to be attending this thing, or who's, got out a new podcast episode on this. There's just a presence, sometimes even a physical presence.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of thought leadership now, is like
It's so
showing up.
true. It's so
Yeah.
true because you think just because I mean, I don't know if you've run into this. I certainly have. I'm like, I run into friends of mine and they're like, now, when I say friends, not like people that I'm seeing all the time, but that like, I feel like I have an idea of what they're doing. And I feel like I thought they probably had an idea of what I'm doing. But I went to this, uh, I used to work in the governor's office and Governor Sunquist, and he passed away. And there was
Hmm.
a really nice funeral service for him last week. And I went, so I ran into a lot of people I hadn't really seen in a long time. And they're like, what are you doing now? And I'm like, gosh, I probably need to be out there more, and like making sure people know, well, I have this healthcare B2B marketing agency. So, sometimes you think you're out there, but you got to be out there all the time. And that's one thing I wanted to say about the thought leadership. Like it is not an overnight thing.
Mm.
And once you have, like, it takes a while to get it, right? And once you have it, you want to keep it, and you want to continue to invest and maintain that presence in people's mind and that presence in the market. And I equate it, it's a lot like exercising, it takes a
Mm.
long time to get into shape and seemingly like overnight to get out of shape. So I think you got to always be flexing that muscle.
Spoken like a true long distance athlete, which you are.
Not right now. Got to get back on the bike.
Yeah. All right. Same here. We'll get